Hello. Today we'll walk through how to add sensors and threshold triggers in Nakisa Facility Management. I'm Fadi, a facility manager. Today I'll show you how to create sensor readings to monitor the temperature of an asset and establish threshold triggers that allow the system to react to any abnormal readings. I'll show you how to generate a sensor reading for an asset and set up a threshold trigger for the incoming data. Then I'll explain how to manually enter sensor readings if needed. Let's start by creating a reading type for the asset sensors to track. I'll click Sensors in the Directory section of the main menu. Here I can see all existing sensor readings already created. To create a new sensor, I click Create. The sensor window appears, prompting me to enter a name for the sensor, as well as the data source, the primary asset for data collection, and the location of the asset. When selecting the source of the data, I can select between integration and manual. This video will cover manual entry. Once I enter all the information, I click Create. With the sensor created, I can now enter the measurement information. Here I will enter a measurement scale, type, and frequency. Now that I've configured the sensor, it's ready to start collecting data. Now, let's see how to create a threshold trigger. First, I need to select Triggers from the tab menu. To create a new trigger, I click Add Trigger. The Add Trigger window opens. I can define the trigger details here. I need to give the trigger a name, a threshold value, the trigger type, the threshold frequency, the threshold condition, and the start date. Depending on the trigger type, there may be additional fields to fill in. If I select Notification, I can select the users or teams who will receive the notification for this trigger when it reaches the threshold, as well as a custom notification message. If I select Inspections, I'll need to select the inspection template to generate if the trigger threshold is met. For this trigger, I selected Offline. This means if this trigger hits the threshold, the system sets the asset to offline. Now that all of the information has been entered, I click Confirm. The trigger is now created. Regardless of the data source my sensor has, I can still enter sensor readings manually. Let's see how to do it. To enter manual readings, I click Readings from the tab menu. Then I click on Add Reading. In the Add Reading window, I will enter a reading value and the date and time it was taken. After I enter the information, I click Confirm to add the reading to the list. The reading has been added. Thanks for watching.